In recent years, Formula E racing has seen a significant uptick in the usage of red flag. Since 2014, red flag has been deployed 19 times in 16 Formula E World Championship races. None in the first 3 seasons, 1 in Season 4, 5 in Season 5, none in Season 6, 2 in Season 7, another 2 in Season 8, 5 in Season 9, none in Season 10, and 4 in Season 11 alone. In the early days of Formula E and electric racing in general, red flag were almost unheard of, and even in a way where a driver was expected to have died, the race will not stop. But unfortunately, these days, safety is taken much more seriously. Of all the different flags, red flag is the most serious as it means that the race must be suspended, either temporarily or permanently. There are numerous reasons that there are the race with red flag. The most common way is that there's been an accident that has damaged either the barrier or the fencing, which is a safety risk for both the spectators, and as such as it needs to be fixed. It can also be used if there has been a serious accident in which the driver or spectator has been injured and requires a medical attention, or if there's so much debris that the track has been completely obstructed for no way for those to get through. Regarding weather, it would be used if the rain has come so torrential that the entire track is covered in standing water and that the drivers are by the large unable to control the cars at great speed, or that the visibility has become so poor that there is a high risk of a serious accident or the circuit's medical helicopter is unable to take on land safely. During a red flag, the driver will line up in the pit lane, and while crucially, the mechanic will be able to change the tyres or fix any damage that the car had took during the whole race then, and they need to get that fixed in time for the race to restart as very soon as they can. If the race is to be resumed, there will be a 10-minute warning, then one that will be left behind the safety car, and then it will be for either standing or rolling start, at which point the weight of all cars can be determined, which in most cases is the pedestrian lap before the red flag is called out immediately. If the race does not resume, then the race can be taken to the lap before the red flag is called. If the race does not simply go ahead, and the lap of the race is being completed, then a reduced point and full points will be awarded, and this in turn will declare how much the race is to have completed, and no point are awarded, all but 2 or fewer laps have to be completed without any success usually. Red flags in practice are qualified so they have used much more liberally and can be deployed for things in which races can be done under yellow. So, as you can see, there are many different ways we see a lot of red flags in the past, and we're going to go through them one by one. It's a quick fire experiment of every red flag Formula E races in history. The 2017 Hong Kong E-Prix. The first red flag to appear in Formula E happened in the season opening of Season 4. At the tricky chicane, the DSG teacher Andre Lodger slammed into the barrier and he was collected by Mitch Evans, Nico Prost, Ron Matara and Neil Johnny. The race was red flag immediately when there was a huge traffic jam and got restarted about 50 minutes later, and it was won by the Vice Federation of Sam Bird. The 2019 Mexico City E-Prix. On lap 3, the juggler Nuzapir clipped the right wheel of Torgev Thursday's cheetah, which sent him plowed into the air and ran into the back of Axel's BMW Adretti, making a more even pilot around the chicanes. The race was stopped while the debris was removed, and the race resumed 25 minutes later, and it was won by the Audi Apt of Lucas Di Grassi, and Buzzy made a last lap pass on Pascal Fairlight just before the line. The 2019 Hong Kong E-Prix. The Mahindra Pascal Fair managed to collide with the Jeep Dragon of Felipe Nasser, and then his teammate Duranda Bueno Mahindra went into them and they were blocking the track. The safety car was eventually deployed, but because of the dreaded cars on the track was blocked, the race was red flagged immediately. It restarted 25 minutes later after the records were removed, and it was won by the Vice Racer Sam Bird, which sadly, a few hours later, he was given a 5-second time penalty after crossing clear with Andre Lotterer. So the race went on to the Venturia Ron Matara. The 2019 Sanya E-Prix. The Disney cheetah of Andre Lotterer was trying to make a pass on the BMW Adretti of Alexander Sims, but pushed things slightly closer to the barriers then, which damages with white suspension. The safety car was immediately deployed, but because Sims couldn't get himself out of the car and his car was stranded on the track, the race was immediately red flagged right away. It restarted about 20 minutes later with Sims' car removed, and it was won by the teacher of Sorry Fern. The 2019 Romaine Prix. There was drama on the first lap where the Geostrider of Maximum Good lost his front wheel and spread debris on the track, and the first wheel of Samba got taken out by the other Geostrider of Jose Maria Lopez. Then Lopez made a mistake and couldn't get out through the chicane and was joined by the other driver causing a traffic jam, so the race was rectified immediately. The race resumed about 45 minutes later when the wreckage got cleared up, and it was won by the Jaguar of Mitch Evans. The 2019 Bernie Prix. At the chicane at the start of the race, the potential race of Pascal Fair managed to get clipped by the efficient virtual race of Sam Burr and also the GS Jaguar of Maximum Good, causing the track to be blocked by a traffic jam. The race was immediately red flagged while the cleanup was removed from the wreckage. The race resumed about half an hour later, and it was won by the DS teacher of Sorry Fern, which would be at this point that the Swiss EP in some cities though are not very wide enough. So with that, Formula E never returned to Switzerland again after the Bernie Prix. The 2021 DE Prix Race 2. The Mahendra of Alexis was trying to pass the Jaguar of Mitch Evans for 16th, but Evans squeezed then too close to the barrel, sending out the plate up into the air and straight into the one-off area upside down. The safety car was deployed, but with just a few minutes left of the race to go, the race was red flagged and not resumed, and it was won by the Jaguar of Sam Burr, his first with Jaguar Racing. This has been taken to hospital with no minor injuries or bruises, and he was able to maintain and race again in the next race in Rome. The 2021 Berlin E Prix Race 2. At the start, the Jaguar of Mitch Evans stopped from third on the grid and he was rampaged by the Rocket Trio one Motora. Both of them who were champion contenders in this race were both out immediately. The safety car was deployed, but this became a red flag at the end of one as there was so much debris at the start finish straight at the start of the race. The race resumed 25 minutes later, and it was won by the Rocket Trio of Nominato, his first win of Formula E. And Nick de Vries, who finished that race in PA, was crowned champion of season 7 of Formula E. The 2022 New York City E Prix. The race started dry, but when it restored Cato with just 10 minutes of the race to go. The race leader, Nick Cassidy in the Visway, went off into the barriers and he was collected by the Rocket Trio Lucas de Grassi, and then the Mercedes Kiyosava who ploughed into the side of them. The race was stopped and was not resumed for the final 7 minutes, and Nick Cassidy, despite that credit he suffocated before the red flag, was declared the winner of this E Prix. The 2022 Seoul E Prix. Rain came down just before the start of the race, but by the end of the first lap, 8 Jaguar accompanied up at the fire code just before the start line. The Jaguar Nominato was up third, followed by Bremy, Tickton, De Vries, Cassidy, Turvey, Lotterer and Askew, creating a huge massive pile-up. The race was immediately red flagged while the wreckage was removed, and the race didn't resume until another 45 minutes later, and Nata and Cassidy, who were involved in that incident, were managed to take the restart anyway, but it was won by the Jaguar of Mitch Evans. The 2023 Romaine Prix. On lap 9, the Jaguar season race of Sam Bell lost control going up the hill at turn 6, where he was collected by the invisible race of Sebastian Bremy, which he was being impeded by the attacking portion of the Vista Costa, so the debris fly over onto the circuit. And then moments later, the Maserati of a motor ploughed into the side of Sam Bell's Jaguar, and Lucas Grant with nowhere to go, slammed into another car. And then moments later, the Cooper Kill Robin Fires clipped the side of Bird's Jaguar, making a huge massive pilot down the straightaway. The race was immediately red flag immediately while the cleanup was going on, and the race didn't resume for another 45 minutes later. The race resumed with a safety car start, followed by a standing start, and was won by the Jaguar season race of Mitch Evans. And with this crash in the Romaine Prix in 2023, it was the worst biggest crash in Formula E history to this day. The 2023 London E Prix. This EP race have seen the most red flags as usual in history in Formula E, with a total of 4 in 2 of the races. The first one happened when the Nissan officers of President might get accompanied by the Neo of the camera sending into the barriers. The race was immediately red flagged while the barrier was putting back into place then, and the race resumed about 20 minutes later. But on lap 34, Nato and Fred collide together going into the tunnel at the second to last corner, and made the track blocked, and the race was immediately red flag. It restarted about 10 to 15 minutes later, and it was won by the Jaguar of Mitch Evans. And Jake Stairs, who finished that race in second place behind the winner Evans, was crowned champion of Season 9 Formula E. Race 2, however, heavyweight came poised down for the entire race weekend. So the race was started behind the safety car, but right after the race before that, it was red flag as the rain really saw. The race restarted about 40 minutes later, but got red flag after one lap wherever the East stop copy do. The race got fed to restart 15 minutes later, and the race probably got underway about an hour where it was meant to be started, and it was won by the Fizzle race of Nick Cassidy, his final win with Fizzle Racing. The 2025 Sao Paulo E-Prix. This race happened at the end of 2024 before 2025, making the first time that happened since Season 6. On lap 20, the Andretti of Jake Day came to a hard turn 1, pulled off, and the race was immediately red flag because Jake Day's car was wet, and the race had to be stopped for safety concerns. The race was eventually got restarted about 35 minutes later with a standing start, but on lap 30, the Andretti team race of Nick Cassidy managed to take out the GS Pesci of Maxwell Gooder and attacked the side of the Chinese corridor past the fairway, sending airport into the fencing barrier. The race was immediately red flag while the wreckage was removed, and the race restarted probably about 25 minutes later, and it was won by the Jaguar Mitch Evans, who started the race at the back of the field to way on to it. Passenger was alright following that time, but on play with that, he had to miss out the prize giving race anyway when he won the championship the previous year. The 2025 Miami E-Prix. On following his return to Miami for the first time since Season 1, there was drama. On lap 20, the Maserati SMG race of JQ ploughed into the barrier chicane and was collected by the DS Pesci of Maxwell Günther and the Jaguar GS racing of Mitch Evans, creating a huge pile-up. The race was immediately red flag while the wreckage was removed, and the race Pesci got back on the way 25 minutes later, and Nominato, who was behind Ferry, coming down to the far corner, and Pesci overtook him and won the race. But sadly, though, he would give it a 10-second penalty for not using the total amount of time of his timer during the race, so a fair penalty took instead. The 2025 Turkey pre-race 1. Heavyweight meant the first 4 laps was run behind the safety car, and by lap 5, the race got underway with a standing start. By lap 30, the DS Pesci of Maxwell Günther ran into a hole, which caused the race to be red flagged. 2 laps before, the Maserati G racing of Salvatore made a pit stop while the other were out on time on the passenger's jet. And when the race was red flagged, Vando was the only one who had done it so far. The race eventually got restarted about 35 minutes later, and when everyone all done the pit stop, Vando got ahead of everyone and went on to win the race. That's all for now. I want to say huge thank you very much for this video, guys, and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to my channel, and also there's more videos on my channel if you'd like to know more of this. That's all for now, and I'll see you guys next time.